basically legalized racial profiling. So what that did was they did it under the guise of saying ICE can do this. Oh, Shaka might need to come back up. Or We Are More Than Black. They did it under the guise of it being immigration directed, right? Like, oh, if we see them a certain skin color or a certain ethnicity, or they speak a certain language or have an accent or work low wage jobs, that gives us justification. But that was really opening the floodgates to make what they already do to the Black community as well legalized, so that Black people no longer have any legal recourse when they are racially profiled in public. So like I understand that people can buy into the us versus them bullshit that white supremacists feed us. However, we do have to talk about how this is impacting the Black community as well, and like open our eyes to that shit.
Mm-hmm. Let me read a quick article, and I want to get the panel's perspective on this. Lawmakers call for release of Illinois father detained by ICE as teen daughter battles cancer. Lawmakers gathered Wednesday to call for the release of a Chicago father who was detained by ICE at a Home Depot in the area over the weekend while working to support his family, including his 16-year-old daughter, Ophelia, who is fighting stage 4 cancer, according to U.S. Rep. Mike Quigley and the family's attorney. Spencer, what do you think about that? You have a father whose daughter's battling cancer who gets detained. I don't know his status here in America. It doesn't say that here yet. What do you think about that? You think this man should be released so he can take care of his family and his daughter here in America?
Spencer, you're on mute.
All right, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. We have a new guest, a Hebrew man. Hebrew man, what do you think about this situation with Trump and the National Guard being deployed in Portland and potentially Chicago?
So you guys are when Barack Obama was detaining people, was that also white supremacy, or how does it work?
Real quick, what we're not gonna do, because here's the deal. Okay, I'm gonna just set this real quick. I'm a leftist, so I don't defend Democrats overly. Okay, I'm an actual leftist. But y'all have an obsession with Barack Obama. This man.
No. Why are you deflecting? Why are you deflecting? Let's just talk about the topic.
Hold please. This man has not been in office for 10 years. Y'all are obsessed.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If he was in office for 10 years, he would do the same thing.
I can't mute him. So real quick, yes, that is still an extension of white supremacy. People of color can engage in white supremacy also. There is a difference, though, because we have eliminated due process, and they are saying the quiet part out loud, where they are specifically targeting brown Amerindian people of the Americas. So let's not talk about Barack Obama. Get off of the man's jock for a little bit, and let's talk about what's happening right now.
Can I answer the question?
Okay, so real quick. Hold on, y'all. Let's do this. Let's let Spencer finish his answer or start his answer, and then Hebrew man, I'll come back to you. And then I do want to get your opinion on the topic. Go ahead, Spencer. What do you think about this person whose daughter?
Okay, now with the individual case, rather sad. They did that with the when the AB laws were overturned. Remember, they were talking about the 1 or 2 cases where there was grapes involved, and then where I think some woman had a problem where she needed to get a AB to save her life. So they used that story. All that is a I can't think of the term I want to use, but it's a sad story in order to take care of the masses, because at the end of the day, they want to figure out a way to keep different immigrant classes in the country. So let's have some sad stories out there and let's blurt them all out, and then maybe we can overturn some of these laws to keep people here. So that case is rather sad. I hope he can take care of his issues. I don't know if he can say cancer or not, but his issues. And then with the AB laws and stuff, when they were overturning those, I hope those people, and that's why they used that one guy. They used that one case for that guy who got shipped down to South America somewhere, and then they brought him back, then they shipped him back out. But he represents millions of people that are on the fringe. So that's why they put these little sad stories out. So at the end of the day, they should continue with deportations.
Let me go to Hebrew man. Okay, all right. So Hebrew man, do you agree? Do you agree overall with mass deportations? And I know you were saying, hey, Obama,
I'm not controlling my view.
So case by case, man. Everything is case by case. You don't do everything as a whole. It has to be case by case.
Okay. And then, what do you think about the distinction between, because, for instance, you mentioned Barack Obama, right? But one of the core differences that people bring up when people say Obama versus Trump is that Obama still allowed for due process, meaning that, hey, let's make sure that this person is undocumented. Let's not take people out of courtrooms when they're trying to improve their legal status, as opposed to Trump, where people are just getting snatched up left and right without any, verification or anything like that. What do you think?
Was there any people? Were there any people detained during Obama, or no? They were detained. They were put in detaining.
I don't think people are arguing that people weren't detained. What I'm saying is, how do you feel about the distinction between this situation now, where folks are just being snatched up without any due process to make sure that they are, whatever their status may be, and their process of, either claiming asylum or whatever it may be, right? There seems to be a distinction between what's happening now, or do you think that there's no distinction between what's happening now and what happened during Obama's presidency? What do you think? Go ahead, Hebrew man, you're on mute. And then I want to drop it down to Kevin.
While he's contemplating, I just wanted to also point this out. While there was a higher number of deportations under the Obama administration, which definitely needs to be critiqued, absolutely. What we are seeing under the Trump administration, the reason why the deportations are not as high, because the detention numbers are even higher, and they are putting them in concentration camps, and the disappearances of entire people, of families, individuals, that is higher. There are so many people who are unaccounted for, and that is a bigger issue. That is an inhumane issue when we are approaching immigration. So that is something that has to be stated, and that is how we are saying this is an extension of white supremacy, because the goal is to eliminate Black and brown people, which is why I really wish Spencer would focus on the common enemy, but, that's the difference.
And Carolina, we have to also add the fact that people are they're perishing. They're perishing in these detention centers so much that now, yesterday there was an article stating that they're going to start hiring nurses because they are perishing inside of these detention centers. And let's be honest, if the end goal was for them to deport these individuals, there would be processing centers, not detention centers, where they keep them for long periods of time.
That's good.
Correct.
So let's do this. So Hebrew man, Letty just made a really strong argument. I want to hear what do you think? What do you think about what Letty just said? I don't know if you're there. Hebrew man, you're on mute if you're speaking.
I'd also like for him to say where he's from, because this is always interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna chill.
Yeah. Let's. I got you, but let's. Let me go. Lancelot, I know you got some specific experience on this. Let me hear your thoughts. I know I've had you up before. Your thoughts on the distinction between President Obama's presidency in regards to this and President Trump.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yes. Yeah, again, I am from Texas, like I said, former law enforcement. So when I worked multi-agency fugitive apprehension, when ICE worked alongside us, 92% of them had previous criminal convictions of level 1. There's level 1, 2, and 3. And when we worked with level 1, so there's a huge difference between that and now. And now that number has swapped. So 92% of them are just civil administrative deportations, and only about 8 to 10% have criminal, if that. So
real quick, just say that again. You said 8 to 10% have criminal
convictions. That's it. Look at that.
I'll
pull it up.
I thought it was.
Sure. Yeah, I'll pull that up. And again, some people say up to 12, but but yeah. So, and again, you can pull up I'll pull up the screenshot from the Homeland that shows that Obama's was at 92%. Yes. Yeah. And so there's a huge difference there. And again, there's a way, and again, again, I know a lot of people just get caught up with numbers, and there's a big difference. When we would do, just for instance, felony apprehensions of individuals here, we would do a lot. I was very efficient in what we did in our team. It's not because, again, there was other teams that were in other agencies that would violate people's rights when they were doing it. and they would do it and they wouldn't get half of what we did, again, just because, and they would violate people's rights. So again, the numbers, don't get caught up in the numbers on the operation, on how you do it correctly, right? Really out trying to get, quote, the worst of the worst. That's what the job was. Now what's happening now with the this is what Trump did on his case that he did on that filing. The reason why, quote, he had, brought in the troops was because Portland was I'm Chicago point, is that he stated that, there was some civil unrest. Okay, and the judge, said, where is that? And he had to literally pull up beginning of this summer a couple of incidences. He couldn't find anything. They literally brought in the police department statistician out there, and then they also brought Department of Homeland Security, and that's why. So what he's doing is basically aggravating these. In other words, ICE is not notifying local PD of what's happening, and then it's creating an incident. And so this is why I've never seen the disconnect between federal agencies and local ICE and local agencies, because you'd work together. Now they're doing their own thing. And that's his excuse to say, we got to bring in National Guard because they're doing their job incorrectly, right? And he's like, okay, well, you agitate this, right? And so instead of actually working with local PD and saying, this is what, even though you're going to assist them, at least you're ready in case something does happen, right? You have officers there, but they're not doing that. And then that's his justification to say, okay, let's bring, there's this happening. Well, yeah, you didn't work with local PD to plan for that, right?
Got it. Oh, interesting. I tell you, learn stuff on TikTok now. Interesting.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. No, appreciate that. Yeah. That's interesting. Interesting perspective. That 8 to 10% number is like, wow, damn. Again, I knew the number was much lower than what they've been saying out there, but wow,
just look that up.
Fascinating information.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, brother. Let me go to Lex. Lex, your thoughts on Donald Trump and National Guard in Portland and or Chicago. And if you're not listening to my dear sister Ann about tapping the screen, you know what's going to happen now. So, Lex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just reposted a video to my account of a black U.S. Postal carrier. He was stopped by ICE because ICE didn't like how they were looking at him or something like that. He had a post office bag full of mail, just got out of the vehicle, and they made him put his hands in the air, and they made him call his supervisor. Thank God his supervisor was on the phone to verify who he was. They said that he was interpreting or trying to do an impression of a U.S. postal carrier in order to avoid ICE, and they could have slammed him on the ground, harassed him. He was black. He's black. There's no question that the man is black. So it isn't about, and that's not me even speaking to the deportation. I think all of that is insane, because that was going to be my point, is like, why are they building these not building processing centers to get people out of the country? Why are they detaining them? Why are they keeping them in these ridiculous conditions? Why are they working them in some cases? They're working them for pennies on the dollar. So, it's not I mean, everything that they say is a lie. And he's trying to build up his own personal military group that will obey him without question and come for all of us. If you think that just because you're a quote unquote foundational black American, you're safe, and you think that these ICE people aren't going to be coming for you next, they're chomping at the bit to stop. I live maybe eight blocks away from where the Black Hawk helicopters came down, and they were pulling people out of their house at like 1, 2 in the morning. They had the kids on the curb. And these were all black people. These were all black people that were sitting on the curb. These were not Hispanics. These were not Anne Frank level Hispanics hiding under the rug or something crazy. No. These are black people. So if you think they're not coming for us, quote unquote, foundational black Americans too, you're insane.
Let me go to Carolina. Carolina, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this was all intentional. This is a pretext. Like, this is why, like, people should not be falling for the okie doke and the crabs in a barrel bullshit, because they they view us the same. They don't view us as their equals, and that's why it's crazy to me when we engage in these microaggressions against each other. And that's why I wish Spencer was listening. I hope Spencer wakes up one day. I have faith for you, Spencer. But so I definitely want you to weigh in. But this is what it has been about. Like, they have militarized ICE, as Letty was talking about earlier. Like, does anybody ever wonder what happened to the Minutemen and the Proud Boys? They signed up to be ICE agents, you guys. Like, that's why you're not hearing so much about those groups, because now they're getting paid for the hateful behavior and rhetoric that they've always espoused. So we have to pay attention to that. We've always talked about how white mediocrity gets rewarded in this country. And this is that political manifestation of that right now. We are seeing that these people who could not hack it in high school, couldn't get into college, couldn't hack it as even being in the military or even being police officers, because God forbid they do anything but leave their the couch in their mother's basement to do something productive for society. They are living out their wet dreams of getting black and brown people. So of course, when you have people who are not trained, not educated, and who have been operating off of impetus of hate their entire lives, of course they're not going to care whether you're an immigrant or not. They see black people as much of a threat as they do brown people, as they do immigrants, as they do people from Africa, from Haiti, from Latin America. Like, all they care about is that y'all are not white. So, like, waking up to that reality is going to be crucial if any of us are going to survive this fascist regime.
Let me get Spencer. I know you want to weigh in. Go ahead. Hold on. I think I might have to unmute you. Let me see. Go ahead. You should be able to unmute, Spencer. Right.
Yeah, you got control of my mute button. What I want to say is 2 points. Okay, all Trump is doing is real simple, but I think I figured it out, because I watched the deportations from the Western world, and that's America, and that's all over Europe, and some places like in the Middle East. They're sending people out. All of their, I'm gonna call it an excuse. All their excuses is lack of resources and competition against their own citizens. And Trump, that's all he's doing, is he putting the tariffs on these companies to eliminate or reduce the competition for our domestic companies. And he's sending out people, like say if you're Asian or if you're from India, those people are overrepresented in the tech fields, which competes with mostly white citizens. So they're eliminating that competition. And then the Black and Brown Coalition or whatever with the Black indigenous people here, they're eliminating our competition. And that's all about money. And you guys are trying to take it from a compassionate thing, but you got to look at it that way, because that's all they're doing. It's just a real simple concept. And my other point was, as far as you trying to crowbar the stop and frisk that we had back in the day, I get what you're saying, because they do use that as an excuse to practice their hate, but it's not going to be directed on us.
So what did you think, Spencer? What do you think about what Lex? Huh? What do you think about Lex? What Lex just said, that he lived right by that area where they had the Black Hawk helicopters coming in and detaining all those black folks. What do you think about what he had to say? Because he's right. He literally lives right around there.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to do that because they're learning now how to separate the communities, and this is why we coined the phrase FBA. Because every other community is allowed to be Latino, Mexican, or whatever, Italian, or whatever, but we have to be the Benetton of everybody. So now we're separating ourselves. So the U.S. government is going after. They're not going after us. The Black Power movement
already fixed that.
They're not going after us. They're going after other black communities.
You didn't need to make a new name in order to specify who we were. Stop it. Talking about some we. You didn't even know who the rest of FBA were until we.
They don't like us separating like that, because they've been embedded in our communities for so long. That's why you hear the T name and stuff like that. And now let me separating. Go ahead.
No. Okay, all right. Let me go to Lex. Lex, what do you think about what Spencer just said about, hey, you know what, ICE is just learning, that's why they had to detain the black folks in that apartment complex. You live right there, so I'd love to hear your perspective. What do you think about that?
I think Spencer, for all his talk about the FBA and everything, I think he's an excellent salsa dancer because he's dancing around the issue like a professional. I mean, he looks like Bottom G guy, you know, moving his legs. Speak to the fact of what I brought up. They stopped a black postal worker with a bag full of mail getting out of a post office truck. And he was black. He was I Dominican, I know Black Poppy. He wasn't none of that. He was straight FBA talking to them with a Chicago accent. I'm black. And they still stopped him. And they didn't believe him until he called.
Where's he at now?
Hold on. They didn't believe him until they called his manager. And that's not the only time they've stopped and actually detained and housed. They've housed black U.S. citizens. And then find out that they're actual citizens after they get out, or in order to get them out. So to hide your head in the sand and pretend like, oh, we're Americans, they're not going to touch us because, you know, they're fair and the U.S. Justice and ICE.
When I mean touch,
stuff,
I mean deport.
like, they're coming for you too, Spencer. They're coming for you too.
Touch,
and they don't care that your name is Spencer.
They have to.
They don't care that you got a white boy named
divided.
Spencer. They're coming for you too, bro. They're gonna slam you and
they can
right
do
on
all
the
that.
concrete with the rest
I'm
of
not
them.
going to be deported.
So real quick. Let me kind of go back to something that Carolina said. So especially I'm gonna mute you because you got
my mute button.
Yeah, I got you.
You control that.
I got you.
Okay.
So did Scar just come in? Let's see Scar and the show come in. Ooh, today is a good day.
So
Love y'all.
I want to say something.
Real quick, fam. Let me just ask Carolina a question. I'll come to you next. So let me just, and actually you can answer this question too. It's actually for the entire panel. So Carolina was like, "Hey, these are the former kind of Tea Party Proud Boys." Now maybe I just didn't know or whatever, but I don't know. It seemed like every time I see ICE on TV or on my phone or whatever it may be. It seems like there's a lot of people of color. I'm just gonna say a lot of people of color in ICE. A lot. The situation, and I don't know if that's like, oh well, let's show these people. Maybe it's just not that many, but we're gonna just show these agents. But it definitely seems like they're not hurting to find a lot of people of color to join ICE.
So
what do you think?
I think what is really important with that is to look at historically, how have black and brown power movements been dismantled in the past? And I let my brother Shaka up here, We Are More, will tell you, William O'Neill, that's a prime example of what was done to Fred Hampton. So they are always going to utilize people from our community to take us down because it's effective for them. It's a way for them to keep their hands out of it and allow us to do the work against each other. So we see that even within the Latino community. You have people who are Mexican American, who have been here for generations, but they cling to that American nationalism. So they're quick to call people from their home country, paisas or wetbacks or all of these derogatory terms because they want to view themselves as being picked. Nobody wants to be oppressed. So secretly, these people of color are admitting to the hierarchy of race and the oppression that exists in our country. They're secretly admitting it, and they're saying, I'd rather it be them and not me. So let me do what I got to do with this pick me behavior to not be the one targeted. When in reality, they're going to turn on them eventually. What just happened with Candace Owens? Nick Fuentes said out loud the quiet part. Hey, you were a token black person in this conservative movement. You no longer are of use to us. Go away. They will utilize us until we have served that purpose for them and then turn on us as well, which is why we do see an uptick in people of color engaging in this behavior because it's self-preservation for them. So instead of doing what our ancestors did, which is collectivism, communalism, putting us before the enemy, they're just trying to get that much closer to whiteness so that the target isn't on them. And that has been a problem. And that's exactly how black and brown power movements of the 20th century were dismantled, by infiltration from our own.
Thank you, Carolina. Let me go to Letty. Letty, what are your thoughts on that?
No, she's right. But then, Carolina, you touched on another point. Nick Fuentes is another one, who claims that family are descendants of the revolution in Mexico, but that if he walks into a barrio in Chicago, they're going to look at him and say, who is this white kid?
Because he is white, but that's why it's important to understand that white Hispanics do not represent Latinos. They are still white. Yeah.
He's a white-sican. He's a white-sican, but at the end of the day, he's still white. You know, he's still Mexican too. So when they figure out that he has DNA that is Mexican, which they will eventually will, then he will be ousted as well, because they're not accepted either. Because there's plenty in our community. And when we come to talk about, and Smitty, I'm in the IE right now, okay? So here in Ontino, the Calvary Church, during this big protest that was this weekend, we had those Proud Boys here. We had them all over the place because Bianco, constitutional sheriff. And if you look at the Southern Poverty Law Center, constitutional sheriffs are known for being a hateful group. They're part of the hate groups in that list of that website. Okay? Now, most of the people that were there at that church under the Proud Boys were brown.
Hey, Letty, you're cutting out. Is it just cutting out for me or for everybody?
She cut out, yeah.
Okay. Let me do this. Hey, Letty, you're having some audio issues. Let me just take a quick poll. Then I'm gonna go to We Are More next, and then we'll continue the discussion. We are looking for someone else besides Spencer who does support Donald Trump's idea to go ahead and federalize the National Guard. Again, just recapping, he did get an approval from an appellate court to weaponize and utilize the Oregon National Guard, as well as now he's trying to leverage that to do the same in Chicago. So let's do a quick poll. If you are in support of what Donald Trump is doing, put 1. If you do not agree with this, put a 2. We Are More. Go ahead, fam. Your thoughts.
Just to expound on a couple of terms or a couple of things, like what Carolina said. So just to bring, every time I'm on a panel, I like to always bring the history, even when people don't want to listen to it, because that's the part that cuts deep. It goes against a lot of people who felt that they knew what they were talking about, or they knew what was going on, or what has gone on in this country. During the beginning, around the 1638 Maryland Colony Edict, when the colonies were first started, you had what's called a meritorious manumission. Meritorious manumission is what we have today. We got a lot of manumission babies. Meritorious manumission was the act of gaining favor from the slave master for either, selling out somebody, like with Denmark Vesey, John Brown case or situation. When a enslaved African person or African American would tell on another enslaved African person, or do some type of deed of helping or saving the slave master or their family or something like that, or accepting Christianity, they would receive some type of favor. They wouldn't be freed, but they would receive some type of favor. This is something that's been going on for a very long time, and it's a system. It's something that's perpetuated and done systematically to reduce numbers, and I'll go to that part in a minute. But you see it happen if you look at the history of South Africa and South African apartheid, they clearly stated that the system of apartheid in South Africa was modeled after Jim Crow system. If you do the history on people like the Small Mustache Man, he also said that explicitly, he said that he modeled his oppression of those people by studying the Jim Crow system in America. So while these cats like Spencer love to perpetuate or love to uplift this American democracy and this American system, this system was designed to continue to reduce the numbers, which is what's happening now. So I would implore you guys, here's another fact that you can go look up instead of this bullet point scholarship that a lot of people have. Go to Wall Street, since y'all don't like to read, you rather look at pictures and videos, go to Wall Street Journal YouTube channel. Wall Street Journal YouTube channel. Although it's already too late, but it has a lot of impact if you listen to it and you'll look at it and correlate that video with the debate with Kamala. Not that I was for Kamala or for Trump. I'm we go deep, so I'm not going to get into that. But Kamala Harris demolished him in that debate, demolished him. But one thing she did that a lot of people didn't pay attention to because they were so worried about the debate and making fun of how people talk, how Trump talk, how he responds, instead of paying attention. Kamala Harris predicted everything that's happening right now. Mm-hmm. You look at her debate, she predicted everything that's happening right now. But the Heritage Foundation told you that man, if you watch his eyes, when you watch that Wall Street Journal YouTube, go look up the 2025 project, Wall Street Journal YouTube, the 2025 project, and you'll see everything that they said it was going to happen in the 180-day game plan that the Heritage Foundation had. Now, mind you, again, stop thinking that Trump is doing anything. Trump is just a peon in place for the Heritage Foundation. The leader of of America, the free world, quote unquote, is the Heritage Foundation, not Donald Trump. The Heritage Foundation is running this country from the back office, and Trump is just the face of it because he's one that's ignorant enough to do it. Because, like, it's not a surprise that he has 30 plus odd felonies, y'all. So it's kind of a quid pro quo type of system if you just pay attention to it. Thank you for that. Everybody go to Wall Street Journal and go look at the Project 2025, and it'll bring a lot of things into play right now.
Thank you for that. Let me go to, I think Spencer wants to say something, and then I want to. And by the way, before you go, I'm waiting. There are a lot of people that agree with this that are in the chat. Please feel free to request. As you can see, the conversation has been respectful. There hasn't been personal attacks or anything like that. We don't allow that here. So feel free to request and come up and share your opinion as to why you think Trump should be allowed to utilize the National Guard, both in Portland and in Chicago or other American cities. Go ahead, Spencer.
Yeah, it's something how they take hundreds of years. Like he mentioned, mandatory is manumission, which was created and made and done several hundred years ago. It's something how they take everything that happened through our civil rights era. Because somebody mentioned, I forgot his name, but one of our civil rights activists that was unalive. All of that was for the black group, the 43 million. Y'all can't use MLK speeches and stuff to represent your group and to call the ones who are inside of our group traitors. That's what you're calling us. Calling me a sellout and all that stuff because I don't agree with, you're not part of my group. Okay, so you can't use my colloquialisms that my group created and the freedoms that we fought for because now you want to use it. And you're not the only ones. Other groups who are not even black use, like I heard Latinos and Native Americans, they all quote MLK. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is ours. We're taking it all back. You can't use it. The Supreme Court's going to actually vote on it also. I think it's end of this month on birthright citizenship. So it's going to be interesting.
Let me go to Lex real quick. Lex, anything else you want to say? Real quick, Caroline. Let me go to Lex. Anything else you want to say, and then I'm gonna let you go. I'm kind of whittle it down a little bit because I do want to get folks up that do support this National Guard decision. But go ahead, Lex. Any final comment?
No, I was just gonna say that Martin Luther King wouldn't agree with you, Spencer. Like he fought for not just black people. He fought for all of us. And the reason they got him in the end was because he was moving away from FBA, if you will, perspective into more of a poor people perspective, which was going to encompass all kinds of different groups and diverse groups. So, you might want to pick up your ball and go home as far as you're concerned and shut everybody else out. But that's not what your heroes, and that's not what the people you're trying to claim ownership of their courageous work and their.
He was fighting for.
Hey, let me finish.
Hold on. I'm gonna let go.
These are my final thoughts. You're not going to rush me, bro. Thank you. Can you mute him?
Yeah. Go ahead, Lex. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm saying I think it's wrong for him to take the contribution to the American fabric and to the civil justice fabric and all these people that he's claiming ownership of simply because he's a quote unquote FBA or because he has similar skin color or background or culture. They wouldn't take their work and hide it behind the skirts of black people. So for you to do so, I think is reprehensible. On that note, viva la raza. Everybody's got to work together to fight this YT hatred. We're all victims and we're all subject to it. They are the people that are doing this to all of us, and we all need to grow together and group together so we don't let this happen to us and our kids.
Okay. Thanks, Lex. Thanks for coming up. I'm gonna let you go. Let's see. Let's go to. Let's see. Give me 1 second, you guys. Okay. All right. I just want to see who's in the queue. All right. Spencer, I think you wanted to respond. I'm gonna let you respond. But again, we are looking for.
Okay. No, I was going to say what he said, MLK, was for all of us. That doesn't make sense because what if the other part of the for all of us, they had all the rights. So I don't even know what that meant. And if you look at his background, I think he's not FBA. He's from the Caribbean somewhere. So I get that. I would speak that way too if I wanted to stay in this country because you come from a failed homeland. I get that. All right, that's all I want to say.
Oh my God, America is a failed state as well.
All right, Spencer, we let you go, brother. So we let
all
you
right,
go.
have a good day, Smitty. Have a good day, Carolina.
You know my name is Carolina, Spencer. Bye.
Time to go, Spencer. So let's do this, okay? I know quite a few of y'all, right? Quite a few of y'all are in the chat. You want to come up. You want to speak, okay, on this topic. Okay, you agree with what Trump's doing. Look at Swan coming. Thank you so much, Swan. I appreciate you. If you're not following Swan, you need to click that follow button right now. Okay, and same with Carolina, and we are more as well. The topic today is, let me do a reset. Somebody just asked what the topic is. The topic today, I don't know if hopefully y'all can see the top of the screen. Okay, there was an appellate court judge that said that Trump can take over the Oregon National Guard and utilize them in Portland. And what Trump is trying to do, okay, thank you for that. What Trump is trying to do now is, I got to fix that. I'll fix that for the next live, y'all. So thank you. So what Trump is trying to do is say, okay, well, now that I can use the National Guard in Oregon for Portland, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for Chicago. So he can use the Oregon National Guard, can federalize the Oregon National Guard and utilize them in Portland. And so what Trump is now saying, let me see if I've got any updates. There's courts actually ruling on this as we speak. Nichelle fam, if you are in the chat, if you want to come up too, I know you got all the knowledge on this as well. Let's see. Yeah, there's some new stuff coming up. So that's kind of what's going on. So it's kind of breaking as we speak on the live. Go ahead, Carolina. Go ahead and weigh in, fam. Go ahead. You want to say something?
Oh no, my bad. I just want to say I want to bait the maggots in the chat. Please come up. I would love to tell you to your face what horrible human beings you are. Please come up. Debate us. Tell us why this is good.
I mean, I listen, I'm just trying to understand, right? Why, we talk about individual, responsibility and, American citizens having rights. And I'm trying to understand that, like, why would we ever want the National Guard to be federalized in situations like this? So
mind you, Smitty,
I'm trying to understand.
Y'all remember when Obama came into office, the right went hysterical saying that they were going to come and take everybody's pew-pews, right? And Obama didn't even have a good grading on the Grady scale as far as pew-pew control, right? He wasn't even at the top of like that. So, but what's interesting is they stated back then in 2008, oh my God, they're going to nationalize the troops so that they can take everybody's weapons. This is going to happen. So at that time, they were very much against federal overreach. But they are oddly quiet now. So it's just interesting to see the people who were originally about states' rights and individual rights and all that are very pro-fascism now.
That's called hit dogs holler, sis. That's hit dogs holler, because historically, black folks have never, ever collectively, as a group, as an organization, just started to just victimize and terrorize and hurt people. They haven't. So a lot of people who know, like a lot of people use the word secret society real loose. There is something called a secret society. It's proven. If you look at the history books of people, of young kids around the age like 10th grade, sophomore year, just take whenever you get a chance, parents, look at your history book, look at your kids' history book, open it up, go to the section that teaches about the old world, and you'll read words like powerful absolute monarch. That's your Pope. Then you'll read the words absolute monarch. That's your kings and queens, Isabella and Ferdinand. There, I know it's an Apprentice Hall literature book. There's a few books for your sophomores that literally continue to teach and perpetuate the hierarchy system of the old world and new world, the European system of, again, powerful absolute monarchs, absolute monarchs. If you pay attention to that and look at how history replays itself today, like what I'm talking about, bring it back to what we were saying. When Obama became president, all of these people who are aware of these secret societies, aware of the benefits that they have attained from white tea supremacy, they literally got to the point where, oh my God, they're going to pay us back. We got a black president. This is how the minds of guilty people think. Oh, we've got a black president now. All these black people are going to have the right to come and get their get back. No, right. That's not what happened. And that was one of the, let's just be honest, that's one of the fears. A lot of people like to talk about the surface level stuff, political stuff. Let's talk about the deep rooted stuff, the roots that people choose not to pull out, rather just cut at the surface. No, the reason why they were so worried about pew pew violence or pew pew control is because they felt that we're not like that. Dr. John Henry Clark talked about that. We've never been that type of people. We've always been too inviting. And the problem with being inviting, you invite the wrong people sometimes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Let me, just got this across the news wire. I want to just read this and get you guys' thoughts, and feel free to come up if you agree with this. What I'm about to read, but this is from CNN. It says acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, speaking with Fox News today, said that the public will see an increase in ICE arrests in New York City. I'm quoting him. I would never say this, but I'm quoting, so I'm going to say it. What Todd Lyons says is because there are so many illegal aliens that have been released in New York. The arrests, including those of street vendors on Canal Street yesterday, are intelligence-driven and not random, Lyons says. You will see us making those criminal arrests to make New York safe again, he added. Carolina, what do you think about that?
This is what I'm saying. Like, people don't actually look at statistics. Like, look at where New York ranks on violent crime. This is what I'm saying. Like, all of these, they are intentionally targeting cities that are in democratic locations. First of all, they're intentionally targeting cities with black mayors. And then what's about to happen in New York? What is about to happen in New York if things go great? We are about to have an extremely progressive, non-white mayor if everything goes according to plan, right? So they, again, like, all of it is extremely strategic. And the fact that people are not seeing this is crazy. Like, we can look at where the violent crime is rising, and it is not in these cities that they are targeting. So it is all very intentional. Like, it's not even conjecture at this point. I think, like, this is why Shaka was saying earlier, like, if you still to this day have not read Project 2025, you absolutely need to read it. For those of us who have been aware of the Heritage Foundation's motives for decades, this is nothing new to us. They were the driving force behind the Koch brothers and Citizens United. What happened with Citizens United? That's basically where corporations became deemed as people, and unlimited money is now flowing through politics and through both parties. So, like, all of this is extremely intentional. There is no coincidence with it. And I don't know. I'm gonna let somebody else speak on this at this moment, because it's just frustrating me beyond no end, because it ignores, I'm a very grassroots person, and it ignores the efforts of grassroots communities that are predominantly black and brown, who are boots on the ground, working on public safety initiatives, working on, sufficient housing and sufficient education and resources for our communities. And it's completely undermining all that work that has contributed to these declining violent crime rates.
Just look at were you about to go on, Smitty? I just want to
I was just gonna add something real quick. Okay, good. Because there were a couple people that were asking why are they targeting street vendors like on Canal Street, and why does it seem like street vendors are typically targeted? They're targeted because it's a vulnerable population, right? And vulnerable populations are typically the first to be targeted in these type of situations. And so for many different reasons, but I think that I don't think that that's up for debate as to why, from my perspective at least. So some of y'all, please feel free to request if you think I'm wrong about that, but I think that's one of the main reasons that they're being targeted, those specific street vendors. Go ahead. Hear more.
So my anecdotal information, my knowledge. I'm big on mannerisms and patterns. Just go to Wall Street Journal YouTube. Watch the 2025 project. Watch that video. Watch that man talk about the Heritage Foundation. When you look at his mannerisms, it's like what Carolina just said. It was really powerful. And I'm gonna try to see if I can bring it around full circle. We knew what was going on, those of us that actually read, that look at history and understand what's going on in this country, because it's been going on. The 2025 project is like the equivalent of Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe was with the Patriots was the Southern strategy. Drew Bledsoe with the Patriots was Reaganomics. Drew Bledsoe with the Patriots was the Federal Housing Administration, which later turned into the Fair Housing Act. Tom Brady is the Heritage Foundation and the 2025 project. The 2025 project, for the most part, which if we look at what's happening today and how it's happening with no apology, unapologetically, no consequences, no one's able to really stop it or put a dent in it. The 2025 project and the way that man spoke in that interview, his face, his body language was saying, "We got you. Like, there's nothing you can do about it." We literally, they said a 180-day game plan. 180-day game plan, meaning the first 180 days of this man coming into presidency with all of his felonies, it's not him. It's the policies that the Heritage Foundation, whoever else in the back office that are working to create this situation, they were telling you what's going to happen. And if you watch that video and or read it, a lot of people have reading comprehension problems. That's why I said watch the video. You see everything that they said was going to happen. It is happening verbatim. Just watch it. It is not no conspiracy. This is something you can, concrete facts that you can actually go look at, feel, and see. Just watch the man's mannerisms, watch the little smirk on his face as he's speaking, and then go deep and learn what the Heritage Foundation is and who make up the Heritage Foundation and their history.
Okay. All right. Let me see if there are any new updates. I'm going to refresh here. Let's see.
While you're doing that, please put a 1 in the chat if you support what Trump is doing, but actually request up. Don't be comment warriors. Come up and speak your piece.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. This story about the Illinois father detained by ISIS teen daughter battles cancer. I already mentioned that one. Let me go back and let's see here. Federal judge lays out options in Chicago National Guard hearing. U.S. District Judge April Perry told the plaintiffs and defendants that there are 3 options at today's hearing over deploying the National Guard to Chicago. Those options are: 1, converting the temporary restraining order to a more permanent preliminary injunction, a hearing on the preliminary injunction, or a full trial on the issue on merit, Perry said. Perry gave all sides until 3 p.m. Central to talk amongst themselves and figure out what the best option is. So, let's see, what else do I have for y'all? I think that's about it.
Nitty, did you also see where the Attorney General for, I couldn't hear what you were saying just now, but the Attorney General for Arizona has officially filed suit against Mike Johnson for refusing to confirm.
Yes. So meaning they just got carte blanche to go into Portland. Correct. Yes. So I know y'all can't see the top of the screen, but Trump is touting the Oregon National Guard ruling, right, to go into Portland as basically not just carte blanche to go into Portland, but also to go into Chicago. And as Carolina said, when you look at if it's about crime, Chicago doesn't even register in the top 20 of U.S. cities in regards to crime. They will wreak havoc. Yes. What logic leads MAGA to believe that a convicted felon will make legal and moral decisions? Well, yeah. So I could touch on that all day. Let's see.
I think it's also interesting that there's simultaneously so many things going on. Trump is stating that he believes the Justice Department owes him billions of dollars for putting him through the quote unquote false accusations. Mind you, the Justice Department is now filled with his former attorneys who were defending him in those cases. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, even if you are a xenophobic bigot, even if you don't like black people, even if you don't think women should have rights, why is it that this egregious overreach of power is not registering with y'all? This man is literally saying, I think I'm owed money, and the people who are to determine that are the people I gave a job. Like, this is insane.
TT sucks. What are your thoughts, new guest? What are your thoughts on this situation? What do you think?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I take offense to what she was just saying about, quote unquote, all the cases against Trump were political. The Russia hoax was a hoax. There's no proof that he colluded with Russia. The Ukraine thing, they didn't prove their claims. And, he is owed money, like it or not. I don't know what his total costs were, but it was a lot of money, and they did that. And this seems to be the central election strategy for 2024 was to tie him up in courts and hurt him financially, emotionally, and even encourage people to do more than that. So,
can I ask a question before we go further?
Carolina, give me 1 second, Patty.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me. So, TT, I don't want to assume. Are you a Trump supporter?
I voted for Trump.
Okay. And so, what do you think about this situation specifically in regards to the National Guard going into Portland and potentially Chicago? What do you think about that?
What you just said about Chicago, I find it strange that people try to downplay the, documented violence in Chicago. People call it Chirac, for a reason. And and everyone knows this. So when people try to downplay it and pretend there's not crime there, it makes me very confused because that's a common knowledge thing. And
so real quick,
I don't know. No honest person will deny that.
Yeah, real quick though. So
real quick.
There's a couple of things we need to address. One being your ridiculous profile picture, but we'll come back to that.
Why is it ridiculous?
Because it's racist as fuck. You're not black, right?
I mean, Kanye West is one of the greatest black men
but you're not black,
ever
right?
here.
Okay, so we'll just move on from that. Like, okay. So anyway, so where are you from in this country? Yeah, where are you from in this country?
I'm sorry, why are you insulting Kanye West?
Fuck Kanye West, but anyway, where are you from in this country?
You do this real quick, Carolina.
You're anti-black. If you're against Kanye West, you're anti-black.
Real quick, let's hold on.
Hey, Smitty,
Kanye West is a champion for the black people.
I don't want to make this about a bootlicker right now. I want to talk about the issue at hand.
Carolina, real quick. I just want to ask you, sir, just in front of Smitty, the actual host, it sounds like your undertone more is trolling and you're doing it just to get on. If you find something that triggers and you do it. So I'm asking you, are you able to and are you willing to have an actual, like, with no trolling, no funny statements, none of that? Because you're dealing with people, we don't really care about that because we actually know history. So if you're looking to try to like trigger people, you got to go to one of those lives where a lot of the black folks don't know what they're talking about. What I'm asking you, are you willing to have an actual intellectual debate about this country and the things that happen in this country and the individual that is in the number one individual in the seat of the leadership seat of this country? Are you willing to have a debate without all this little weird ad hominems? Because it doesn't work here. That's all I'm saying. It won't trigger us. Are you able to do that?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm more of a
you are. I'm asking
I identify as a truther.
To have a intellectual debate on facts. Your page says you scroll through fact checking.
I love facts.
Okay, so you scroll through fact checking. So what I'm asking you, if you're able to, for just about 10 minutes, put your little fragility aside and let's have an actual debate on
fragility.
Facts.
It seems that you're being fragile, sir.
See what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like, you're waiting to
Yeah.
make comments on little things. So if you're not able to do that, just drop, bro, so we can have people to actually have the intellectual fortitude to have a conversation and not the little ad hominems. You already start off bad with the profile picture. We're going to ignore that. But can you have an actual debate about the facts so we can walk you down on those? Can you do that or no?
You said all that while insulting me for no reason, sir.
Okay.
I guess not. I'll go back on mute.
Real quick, hold on, hold on. Y'all.
See, Smitty is smart enough to understand that's what just happened.
So
I know, Smitty. I know.
yeah. So let's do this. Let's bring it back to topic. I do want to let Nichelle weigh in too. So you said, hey, you know what? I don't necessarily agree around Chicago. You feel like Chicago's high. Sound like you said high crime, high violence. Let me take that back, Carolina. Why don't you respond to that? What she said about, hey, yes, they should be in Chicago because it's high crime, high violence. Then I want to go up to Nichelle. Go ahead.
Thank you. So here's the deal. What we're not going to do is we're not going to base things in common knowledge, because common knowledge can be construed in multiple ways, and that often involves stereotypes. So what I like to do is operate within reality and statistics. So the statistics show that violent crime has been on the decrease in Chicago. You can look at the top 20 most violent cities in America. Chicago is not on that list. So while it is the third largest city, so numbers wise, of course, you're going to see crime. Any large city is going to see an uptick in crime because a more populated area has more crime numerically. But when we're talking per capita, Chicago is not registered on there. And that is why I want to know where you're from. Because again, I'm very, very protective of Chicago. And I am very protective of the grassroots organizers who are boots on the ground working to decrease crime in our cities and our communities. So when a person who comes from bumfuck America, where they're surrounded by people who look like them and have never probably even set foot in Chicago, constantly use Chicago as a deterrent from the actual issue at hand, I am going to get very upset about that. So where are you from and where are you basing your information from? Because these facts do not support your rhetoric.
All right, let's do this. So real quick, let me go up to Nichelle, and then TT, I'll let you respond to that, because Nichelle is on limited time. Go ahead, Nichelle, fam. Good to see you. Good morning. What are your thoughts?
Good morning, Glenn. Good morning, everyone on the panel, everyone in the chat. We've only got 198 people in here. Can you go on mute, please?
I got it.
Oh,
Go
thank
ahead.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. We've only got 101 chairs in here. Come on, guys. We gotta do better than that. There's 199 people in here. Share the live, like it, do the orange heart. Sorry, I've got limited time. All I'm going to say is this, because I refuse to argue with. I can't do that. My patience is thin, Smitty. I'm just going to say this for everyone who rage baits and talks about Trump, supports this, supports all the things. We all see the stuff that's going on right now, right? The government is shut down. Low-income people are going to lose benefits in literally a week and a half. I'm more worried about that than arguing with ignorant people, right? You got federal employees that are not getting paid, but Congress is getting paid. Republicans have taken off and they're not doing their work, but they're getting paid. You got the Supreme Court that's in the back pocket of Donald Trump and this administration. For all the people that argue and support this administration and what they're doing in Project 2025, if Kamala had won and she was sending and mobilizing the National Guard of states and going to red states, right, and arresting hillbillies, because I don't know, for whatever reason, y'all would be in an uproar. What bothers me most about this, Smitty, of course, we talked about all the legal cases. We talked about this, right? This is setting a precedent, which is terrifying. It's the same thing that's happening with the Supreme Court with the Voting Rights Act of 1965. It's the same thing. They're mobilizing. There's no checks and balances anymore, my friend. There's no checks and balances. They're picking up anybody. Literally, right before I scrolled into your live, literally, I saw a post of a young black man who was a U.S. postal worker on his route who got picked up by ICE. Straight up, an American-born black man, okay, wearing his USPS and was accused of impersonating a postal worker, got picked up and detained by ICE. Okay, so if you are okay with this, Would you be okay with it if it was you? The answer 99.9% of the time is no, TT, right? Like this is what blows my mind about this. They spout all this stuff about security and crime. Listen, red states have an immense amount of crime. If you want to put it there, why are only certain states being targeted? And this is the last thing I'll say, because I literally only have 4 minutes left, or 4 minutes before I have to go to work. I will say this. The National Guard is not meant to be a police force. They're not. That's not their job. And the National Guard, yes, the president has the right to mobilize them, but only in certain situations if you know your damn history, okay? And that is up to the governors to manage that on the National Guard level, specifically on the National Guard. So the fact that the Supreme Court is even weighing in on this is all wrong. And everybody should, regardless of what your political affiliation is, everybody should be worried about this because of one thing, precedence. Because I guarantee you one day a Democrat's going to be back in charge again, and things will flip as this country does, okay? And would you be okay with it if somebody in the opposite party was doing that? If the answer is no, or if you come up with excuses for it, then that's your signal that this is wrong. And I'll land it there. Y'all are crazy. Stop being stupid. Read a damn book.
Thank you, Nichelle. TT Sucks, you want to respond to that? And now I'm going to go up to Ernie. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Nichelle. I didn't even make any statements so far in this live. People are just making assumptions based on me being white or having Kanye West as my profile picture. I have made no major claims. I actually don't like the ICE stuff. I don't like that. I don't like the mass deportation. But you guys like to lump people together. And what you just said, I want to respond to what her closing is, the rubber band effect, like what happens when, we're seeing the snapback because we, for years, were hearing the Trump Russia stuff. We were hearing the threats to democracy. They exaggerated J6 and then tried to blame every Trump voter for the actions of very few people. And even people in the chat, like when I first got on here, people are talking about he's a J6. The only thing about J6 is I don't like the lies. There was 100,000 people there. The left right now, the left wishes they could storm the Capitol. They fantasize about it. That's their identity. And what's amazing about the snapback effect is that they got you guys to believe the J6 narrative and then cheer on people getting arrested. So, what happens when it happens? Well, it's already happened because they arrested hundreds, thousands of people. They drove people to suicide with the J6 persecutions. They arrested people for protesting in the wrong spot at abortion clinics. One of those people was like a 70-year-old woman. They sent her to prison. That was the Biden DOJ doing that. So, we're kind of too late to be doing this. What if? Because we already saw it. We saw the forced vaccines, the people trying to tell people to unvax differently.
So, TT, let's let this
brought up my name.
Gotta go. Go ahead.
I literally have 1 minute. I have 1 minute. Do two wrongs make a right then, in your view? You're saying, okay, I have literally 1 minute.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, exactly. So I'll leave it there. See, do you see what I'm saying? Two wrongs don't make a right.
So real quick. You guys know very few things annoy me, but one thing that annoys me is when we're jumping out of turn, right? So let's stay in the flow that we've got. Let me go back to.
I just want to say he deflected though, Smitty. He didn't respond about Chicago.
I got you.
Chicago's the top gang state. Top state for gang activity is Chicago, by the way. Chirac, as some call it. Home with many drill rappers that rap about killing each other and kids walking around
with your language, but also you still haven't stated where you're from and whether you've even been to Chicago. So keep Chicago's name out your mouth, bro.
So
I got family from Chicago.
Around here in Afghanistan, we don't fuck with y'all either.
Hold on. So real quick, let's go back to Nichelle's point. Do you support TT? The National Guard in cities like Chicago and cities like Portland? Just overall, do you support this decision?
I don't like the optics of it, but if people are attacking ICE and they're doing it for a security presence, then it is what it is. You can't have people just attacking the police, Okay.
All right. Let me go to Ernie. Ernie, Welcome, man. It's been a long time, bro. How you doing?
Yeah, it's been a while, bro. I've been getting restricted because of these idiot Trumpsters. You know what I mean? Just reporting my lives every single day. So I've been trying to stay low key. But TT doesn't understand that the National Guard, like I think in the show or somebody said, they're not designed and they're not supposed to be used for tactics that the president is using them for. Right? The only reason that you would deploy military is to instill fear among the people, right? Like that's a fear tactic. Like, we're sending in the military because we're coming after you. Military is only the National Guard's only used for for national disasters, right? Let's say we have a hurricane, or let's say we have an earthquake in California. The National Guard is deployed there to help with the people and help first responders help and all that. They're not there to help with the policing of a city. You know what I mean? Portland is not a dangerous city. I've been there. Chicago's not a dangerous city. I've been there 10 times over. You know what I mean? If it's such a dangerous city, then why do they even hold a marathon in that city, right? LA, me and you, Smitty, hey, how come there's people that go to Disneyland every day, right? How come there's people that go to Knott's Berry Farm? How come there's people in downtown LA not giving a care in the world and just walking around like nothing's wrong, right? But everybody wants to emphasize the cities that have the most minorities, right? Because nobody talks about Little Rock, Arkansas having the highest crime rate in the country. They have the highest, unalivings in America, but nobody talks about that. Louisiana has one of the highest crime rates in the country, but everybody wants to point the finger at Chicago. Everybody wants to point the finger at Illinois, California, all the blue states, right? All the donor states. Let's call them the donor states, because the donor states are the ones that help the red states survive. Because let's be honest, if the 8 donor states, which are the blue states, with the highest, federal tax income that they bring in, if they were to stop giving the federal tax money to the government, the next nearest 10 red states would fail within 30 days. And that's what an economist said the other day. So you have like Texas and Louisiana and all those states that depend on California, like me and you, depend on our tax dollars to survive. They wouldn't be able to survive for 30 days, after 30 days, if we stopped giving them the money. Wow. So this narrative that they're the ones that to have this country and they make this country is a bunch of BS. I don't know how old TT is, but he just seems like it's ignorance at its best, right? Like he doesn't want to see the full picture. This is more of a whole. That's why everybody had that No King's Day, right? It's more of a totalitarian power. He wants all power, right? He doesn't care what it takes. He doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care how you feel about it. He's going to do whatever he wants. And he has the power right now because he's put his people in there. And us as Americans have to realize that we have to take the power back because we're in control, not him.
The issue is that TT is itching to say something racist, which is why he used the dog whistle like Chirac.
I was waiting for him to crash out.
Please stop saying that. That's actually a hate hoax, what you're doing, you Jussie Smollett ass person. Please stop doing that.
No, because you're not black or brown, so saying Chirac
just because I'm white,
trying to infiltrate and use language slang from our country.
No, it's a common term that compares Chicago to Iraq because of all the gunfire.
We got folks that have been muted and want us to. Let me go up to Renee.
Well, can we stop the insults? I haven't insulted anybody.
Tim, please,
I could, and no, I'm not going to say any words here, but stop fucking insulting me. Let's stay on track.
I got you, TT. Let's go to Renee. Go ahead, Renee. Opening comment, fam. Your thoughts on this?
Can you mute him just so that he doesn't interrupt me while I'm talking? Because I don't deal well with that. Secondly, so he's dropping like mad dog whistles, and it's very obvious if you know anything about like that side of the fence that they love the dog whistles and they love to telegraph their fear of black people, because all of the things that he's saying are easily disproven facts, plus the fact that he's using digital blackface as his profile picture. He's too much of a coward to even show his own face, so he's hiding behind black people, which he actively fears, right? Then it goes to the fact that he is talking about digital blackface is a real phenomenon, and it's very funny as somebody who does not look up anything and doesn't believe in the truth. This person is talking about how, genuine J6, for instance. Oh, we're blowing J6 out of proportion. They tried to unalive people in the Capitol. If they had found sitting legislators in the Capitol, they would have unalived them. They tried to unalive. Please mute his microphone. I don't deal well with shit like that.
We'll stop lying about J6.
Please mute his microphone. Thank you. So the problem is that those people are in a cult, and they are easily led. They're pretty much sheep. They only believe the things that their cult leader tells them, and they refuse to even believe the evidence of their own eyes. And he's too immature to even entertain the idea that he could be wrong about something, which again is the mark of someone who has been in a cult for quite some time. You can't challenge people who are in cult. They need to be deprogrammed in other ways. So I tend to not even come on these kind of panels because I don't want to talk to them. They make a lot of assumptions about who they're talking to without actually listening to anything that people are saying. And again, I have the courage of my convictions. I stand behind my own face. I'm not using digital blackface or anybody else's image to try and suit a narrative. So it's very just funny to me to hear these people regurgitate the same bullshit talking points. Because it's very well, it's documented. I mean, we all watched it. I watched it on the news. Multiple news channels were showing live what was going on in J6 at the Capitol. And the fact that they think that everybody wants to act like a bunch of ravaging animals and go, overturn the Capitol and try to destroy things is just more proof positive that they are just extremely far out of touch and just angry, violent people. They're just very hateful. And there's really, at this point, as someone who has done a lot of work in activist spaces, who has done a lot of work in advocacy, who has done a lot of work to try and, prevent this outcome, at a certain point, we as people of the global majority, let's just put it that way, need to come into our own communities and realize that we can't save everybody who doesn't want to be saved. We can't save people who don't want to admit the truth of reality. We can't save people who refuse to accept and even acknowledge their own guilt and culpability. Honestly, they're so obsessed with Black people that they literally go around and seek us out to make us the scapegoat of everything. Oh, and also Nichelle recently said in the comments that she wanted to drop, just so you know, Smitty.
Oh, she did. Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, it's just very telling, right? That he has so much smoke for Black people, but he can't even stand behind his own face. All the content on his page is reposts of other people. There's no there. It's a nothing burger, as they would say on the news. So honestly, at a certain point, I'm not giving my energy to these people. They just like to stoke division, and all they care about is acting superior when it belies a really deep and abiding and generational inferiority complex, right? I'm sorry, I don't go around, if for people I dislike, I don't go around following them and antagonizing them into conflict, right? I don't go around and follow people around and taunt them so that they come back at me, right? I remove myself from the spaces that people I don't want to be around occupy. So it's odd to me that these people think that they have some sort of intellectual and moral superiority and some high ground, when in fact they are just very easily led sheep. And it's actually very funny and sad at the same time. I would not care if their ignorance and refusal to accept, I would not care if their ignorance and refusal to accept the reality of the world that they live in did not directly affect my life.
Exactly.
And I would not they would not rate in my day, but I have to deal with it because they vote. And I'm going to land my plane. All I really care to say is that I wish that people who considered themselves progressive did not listen to the propaganda that voting doesn't matter. I wish that people who consider themselves on the left and who consider themselves revolutionary would do the same things that people like cosplayers who want to pretend to be black while using our faces to spread hate would just, stand on the courage of their own convictions instead of trying to use our faces as some sort of clout. And that's where I land. But I also wish that, electoralism on the left was as strong as it is on that side of the fence. That's where I land.
I wanted to say one thing real quick before he freestyles. And first of all, good morning, Renee. Good morning, sis. And I'm really glad that you said that, because that was the very first thing that I noticed. I was like, we need to address that profile picture. And this is the thing. It's not only just to gain clout, it's to shield them. It's to shield them because they have this cowardice of admitting how racist they are on the apps because they know about the consequences in real life. And so coming in here to intentionally rage bait people of color and to use false information, talking shit about Chicago when I know you've never stepped foot in the Chi. I will tell you that right now. I can tell. And so, like, when presented with statistics and facts, he goes back to, this is common knowledge. This is what people know. Even you using Chirac is problematic as fuck. You are not from a community of color. You don't even know the context for which that term was created. So understand exactly what it is that you're talking about before you start spewing nonsense.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this.
Smitty, I gotta land my plane because I gotta go back to work. But the one thing that I gotta say, and I live in constant fear, right? You know me, Smitty. I'm a Marine Corps vet, and I was born here in America. But the fact of the matter is, ICE can pull me over at any time and anywhere that I'm driving, and I can get pulled over and ask for my papers, right? And the constant fear that I have is because my dad works in agriculture. Here in California, right? And so every day that he goes out to work, my constant fear is that my dad's going to get pulled over and taken in and whatnot, and I have to go out and do all this stuff to get him out. But the fact of the matter is that it's all a fear tactic, right? Like, you know what I mean? These people, like TT, will go into a Mexican restaurant and eat Mexican food. They will go out and celebrate holidays that don't even attain to them. Like they're quick to go out and party it up on Cinco de Mayo or stuff like that, right? Like that's the thing that irks me the most about these people is that they will go out there and say bad things about the Mexican American community. They'll say bad things about the African American community, but yet they're still in our community absorbing our culture. You know what I mean? And like I said, it just like Renee said, it's disheartening for him to come in here and say bad things about Chicago. I have family in Chicago. I've been to Chicago I go there twice a year, maybe 3 times a year. It's one of the safest cities that I've been in. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's bad parts in every city in America. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? And it is like Carolina said, of a town of 5 million people, you don't expect to have some kind of crime in any city? Come on now. And to say that Chicago is a dangerous city, no, it's not. Los Angeles is not a dangerous city. Yeah, does Los Angeles have, elements that we don't approve of? Yes, I don't approve of any of the gangland or any of that stuff. You know what I mean? I try to I work with the youth here in California. And I tell them, like, you know what I mean? I go, this is a problem that you guys got to step away from that. Because, yeah, it's easy for you to go out and get into these elements. But, you know what I mean? There's better ways of doing it. But, you know what I mean? They're talking points. You don't hear them talking about the red cities, right? The red cities are one of the out of the 10 most dangerous cities in America. 7 of them are red cities or are in red states. I'm sorry. And so why aren't they going after the red states then? If crime is so bad, why aren't they going after the red states? At the end of the day, we have to. He has to understand that yes, that picture that you have up there, bro, is like Carolina said, you would not step into in Chicago with that picture in your profile and expect to not get some repercussions for it, right? Actions have consequences, and a lot of these people, they don't understand the consequences of their actions because they feel like they have a complex, and they believe that they're above everybody else because of their color of their skin. At the end of the day, that's what it is. You know, they believe that they're above everybody else, and nobody can touch them. Until the fact of the matter is, they're in the FA and found out phase.
All right.
By the way,
Thank you, Ernie. I know you got to go. Oh, real quick. Hold on. Let me just come in. No, thank you, Ernie. I know you got to go, so I'm gonna drop you. TT, anything else you want to say before I let you go as well?
I mean, yeah, if I could respond to like Renee's claim about J6, when we talk about like the BLM riots, for instance, see, I'm going to be honest enough because to say it was mostly peaceful, but we would all know that at night a criminal element came out and caused trouble. So when we talk about J6 and there's 100,000 people there, most of which were older white people, like Fox News type, your people like my parents, for instance, people that are nonviolent, that was most of the crowd there. And so it was mostly peaceful. No, I'm talking, ma'am, I'm talking. So J6 was mostly peaceful, but when you say J6 was mostly peaceful, people in your chat say that you're crazy because they're in a cult, like Renee was saying. She needs to look in the mirror because you guys can't admit that J6 was mostly peaceful when in fact it was. They only arrested about 2,000 people, most of which was trespassing charges. Okay. And most people are going to be okay with jailing people that assaulted police officers, but give them a similar amount of time that somebody else doing that elsewhere would get. But the problem is that they threw the book at these people to make an example, and then they spread this rhetoric, this threat to democracy that likely led to the assassination attempts against Trump, and it specifically directed hate toward Trump voters in general, like what you're seeing in the chat against me. I haven't said anything too controversial here, and yet people are attacking me because I'm white, because I like Kanye West. I'm not pretending to be black. I like Kanye West, in specific the Bully album. I was a fan of that, still have it in my car. And nobody's pretending to be black here, okay? But anyhow, that's what I say about J6. My main point about J6 is that it was mostly peaceful, just like the BLM riots were mostly peaceful. And the reality is that they exaggerated that day for political gain. And you can see this in Colorado and other states where they tried to remove Trump from the ballot using the insurrection language, which, that was specifically used for that purpose. And then also I would just say, I'm going to play on Chirac because Chirac is you're putting Chicago and Iraq together because Iraq is a war zone.
Yes, please white explain
Chicago sounds like that.
Goofy.
Yeah. It's a reference to videos people post online where you can hear gunfire going nonstop, and it sounds like a war zone, and that's why people say Chirac.
He's an academic.
And so when you guys deny that, you guys are actually being anti-black and you're hurting the black community.
Oh, shut up.
I'm done with that.
I'm sorry. I'm going to jump in really quick. As someone in Chicago, I just kind of want to
wait. You gotta let the host. Hold up.
Sorry, ma'am. No, you good. Go ahead, Mako. Go ahead.
Just trying to say a quick snippet. I just want to go to a bathroom and exhale having to hear that boy speak. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let me do this. Yeah, that was a lot. But Mako, go ahead. How do you feel about the topic here with Trump and the National Guard in Portland and Chicago?
Yo, what's up? 35, Chicago transplant, been here about 4 years. I've been watching a lot of these current conflicts that people are talking about, like the Venezuelan migrant crisis. I saw that firsthand. It's everything about those people and these people are just living in their own little fantasy world. And it's not the truth. Even to that young man, like the fact that he keeps wanting to say Chirac, that's in reference to O Block. O Block is in reference to a YouTube narrative that became really popular about 10 years ago by this guy called Academics. And that's the only reason they know what O Block is, even though they know nothing about Chicago. O Block is in the neighborhood.
If you don't mind, I don't mean, Smitty don't like us interrupting. But real quick, just if you don't mind, like, please, let's not, I don't want to get into celebrity history. To me, as another black man, it's embarrassing. Like, we don't.
I'm clowning it.
I think it's
relevant to acknowledge that whether academics,
I know.
First generation African,
clowning it or giving a history of it. To see how you're breathing.
Is he a mod?
Like that? It shows. No, he try to hear me out, and I'll shut up. Just
no. Can you wait till I'm done? Damn, I hear you out.
45-year-old man trying to give you a little
take
advice.
Away from what
I'm saying is, come on, stop spazzing out. You'll be okay. Don't hyperventilate. What I'm saying is, brother, FBA, when we as black folks talk about celebrities and revere them the way you are about to, and give it where we actually make ourselves feel that talking about celebrity hip hop artists.
No, you ain't speaking facts. You're speaking from emotions. I don't care about your opinion.
Politics.
No.
That is
you mute him, host. I didn't come here to hear his opinions about things. I was making a point.
It doesn't show.
I'm leaving. I can't finish my fucking point for his emotions. That's his. As an atheist, I don't care about his emotions.
So real quick.
Okay, I was making a point. Academics is relevant, and we need to call him out. That's his opinion. That's saying that we don't acknowledge it. That's ignorance, in my opinion. Okay, I'm going to acknowledge the ones who are damaging our community, especially those who are spreading a negative image of Chicago to the whole world. So to say, oh, we should know his name, we should avoid him in every single manner because that boy still has a platform. He's still making money. What?
All right.
So,
let's do this.
Man, I forgot my original point. That's why I don't like that, man. I was on the point. You just cut in. This is how I feel about spreading celebrities. No, that's how you feel.
Okay, well, let's try to bring it back.
Hold on, y'all. So real quick.
Go ahead, Smitty, go ahead.
We are all breaking the rules here. It's starting to get a little annoying for me as a host. I'm not going to lie. Okay? Right? People come to this platform because they want to see a debate with good flow and everybody's getting opportunities to speak. And I love y'all, but y'all starting to break the rules more than the ops. Okay? So please, let's not break the rules.
I apologize.
You good. Let's go back to topic.
But yeah, when it comes to the troops coming here to Chicago, I worked in the Venezuelan migrant shelter for a few months. It was a terrible situation. My heart bleeds for these people. I acknowledge that they came to this country. These young Venezuelan people come to this country because our country has been messing with them economically for the past 15 years. Their money is worthless because of our interfering of their country. That's why they're here. And then for them to be thrown around the country like dice by the governor of Texas to sending them to Chicago in October, not concerning that, hey, these people may be unalive because of the temperature, because they were living in the streets. They were living out of police station lobbies for months until winter hit. And then we put them in the hotels and out of Republicans want to cry, oh, spending all this money on the hotels. It's that order of Chicago winter. You pick. But my whole point is we as Americans should be human about this, and that's not what our president is doing. Okay?
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Can I just make one quick thing, Smitty? I'm like shooketh right now. Like, because that was a very sensible, humane comment from FBA. Like, I'm shocked right now. Like, I just wanted to say that. That was... Okay.
Let me go up to Drew. Go ahead, Drew.
Hey, Smitty, how you doing?
Good. What are your thoughts, fam, on this?
Let me do a quick announcement because we haven't had one in a while. Chat, there's 200 of us in here. Please tap the screen. Let's get to at least 125K likes. Let's get the shares up to 250. If you're not already following Smitty, make sure you tap that plus sign. If you can join the Hearts team, gift the panel if you can. Smitty always prefers you gifting the panel over himself, but let's show him some love as well. I do want to address two things, and then I'm going to drop back down because my voice is kind of off today. In regards to the background, I'm really waiting for the moment that local courts, local judges realize just how effed the Supreme Court is, and when they'll start to dissuade listening from them. Because if the Supreme Court itself is ruling unjustly, that's when it gets pushed on to the lower courts, and the lower courts don't actually have to follow the Supreme Courts if it's unjust. So I'm waiting to see if that happens because, as was spoken about earlier with the civil rights, they're going to bring back up gay marriage. They're going to bring back conversion therapy. At what point do you just realize that the Supreme Court itself is corrupted from the inside out? And earlier with TT coming up to speak, I also wanted to talk about how he kept saying because he was quote unquote white, that's why everyone's judging him. No, I'm white. Hi, I'm friends with Carolina. I'm friends with Renee. I'm friends with Smitty. I'm friends with Heba. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're white. It has everything to do with the fact of the narrative that you were speaking and the language you were speaking it with. Who are you to bring up anything gang related if you're not even in one? Who are you to talk about Chicago if you've never been there? Who are you to talk about any of these cities that if it wasn't for us blue states farming, using our taxes to pay for your family's health care, that you're going to lose come November 1st. I think it's just really ironic that you want to come talk about January 6th when it has nothing to do with this conversation at all. So no, they don't like you because you're white. They don't like you because you don't know what you're talking about. And I'll drop back down.
All right. Thank you, Drew. All right. Let me go to Hiba. Hiba, long-time fam. How are you?
Hey, Smitty, how are
Quick
you?
thing, if you're not talking, please mute your mic because it does hinder other people being able to hear the person who's trying to talk. Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Thanks, Renee. Hey, Smitty, how are you?
Good. How are you? What are your thoughts, fam?
I'm good. I know it's been a minute. I stepped away for a while, but I'm somewhat back.
I understand. We all got to do it.
Yeah. So I grew up in Southern California, and I lived in New Jersey for 5 years, and I lived in Chicago for 2 years. Okay. I just want to say that people in Chicago are literally the nicest human beings I've ever met in my entire life. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I can't even, you know how, like, back in the day, people would just walk around and being like, "Hey, how's your day today?" That's actually, like, it was a culture shock for me when I moved to Chicago, and people would just be like, "Hey, how's your day?" Like, I looked around like, "Me? You're talking to me? Great, thanks for asking." And are there parts, like, are there little areas where, like, it's not the safest? Yeah, like, but have you been in Southern California? Like, what are you talking? Have you been to Orange, New Jersey? Have you been to Patterson? Have you walked the streets of Manhattan at night? Like, I think it's ridiculous that people, generalize an entire city and an entire area for the actions of a few. This idea that we should be sending troops in anywhere to take over a city, I think, is ludicrous. I do have a question, though. So it's my understanding that the governor is the one who controls the National Guard, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Circumstances, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in situations like we're having right now, where we have these ICE raids and everything that's going on, and the way that they're attacking citizens, we're not even just talking about immigrants. And I don't find, like, obviously I'm against that as well. But my question is, wouldn't that warrant deploying the National Guard to protect the citizens from these actions? Like, I'm not understanding it.
Yeah, well, I have my opinion on that, but I'll let the panel, whoever wants to weigh in on that.
Well,
clarify your question again, because I kind of got lost a little bit.
Yeah, I'm same.
I admit I got lost. I don't know what she was asking, Smitty.
So with the ICE raids being as chaotic as they have been, and with them literally hurting, and I think there have been a couple of people who have been unalived, citizens, wouldn't that warrant the protection of citizens from ICE agents, and wouldn't that then warrant the deployment of the National Guard to protect the citizens from these ICE agents?
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. So,
seeing as how like, the governor is the one who controls, seeing as how the governor is the one who controls the National Guard, wouldn't he then have the right to do so?
So what you're basically asking is, if the Yellow Boys are a marauding agency, right, who is just kind of outside working extrajudiciously, would not the National Guard be good to counteract them? And either way, no, because both of those forces are authoritarian. Deploying the military on civilian populations is an authoritarian move. Quote unquote, we don't do that in America, but it's not true, but it's supposed to be that way. And the National Guard, as Smitty said, is only supposed to be for defense within our borders and, you know, help during emergency times. It is, as somebody said. But can I just refer to something that I'm not even going to like reply directly to her, but there's somebody in the comments talking about, why are we bringing up Obama? He was president 2 presidents ago. Can we stop talking about him? Because the only time y'all bring up Obama is to say something racist or a lie. I did answer her question. I said that no, the National Guard should not be deployed on the streets, and neither should the Yellow Boys. Honestly, they shouldn't be ripping people out of their homes. That's not supposed to be how this works. And as somebody who, I don't think y'all understand that their ultimate goal is to make this a Christo-fascist ethno-state. You know, like they're trying to do Is Not Real Part 2, American Boogaloo. They really want to take us back to an age where it's just white people, black people, and indigenous people. And just so that they can put, you know, they can subjugate indigenous and black people again. That's the ultimate goal. I think that people need to realize that we're not just this. There is not going to be a return to any kind of status quo after this. There is not going to be a return to the America pre-2024 after this. We need to think very long and hard about actual solutions about what kind of future we want. All right. So, I remember history, so you're not going to gaslight me by telling me that Obama put anybody in cages. But again, he was a deporter. He was the deporter in chief. Like, he deported a lot of people. He set a lot of drone strikes, but also he did it in humane ways. We're not saying that deportation never happened under Trump. I never said that deportations never happened under Obama. What I'm saying is that what is happening now is a level of cruelty and inhumanity that should be anathema to what you consider the American way. And if you act like we are, am I saying cages are human? I'm just gonna ignore Luz from now on. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But no, I mean, it's just,
you are cooking. Please don't stop. I'll respond to him. I got you. I'll respond to him.
Thank you. But like, I mean, I don't understand. To me, the problem is that people still want to act and pretend like this is going to just fix itself by them just passively doing things or having weekend protests. And I'm sorry, that's not going to be the way things work. And if you want, I'm going to land my plane, but like, please just educate yourselves and educate your communities and really, really, really re-look at news from 10 years ago. Acquaint yourself with recent history so that you are not gaslit. That's where I land my plane.
Yeah, and to be fair, Covey points out, how do you drone strike people in a humane way? I mean, that is a good point. I think.
I'm not saying he did. He was not a humane person. He should not have won a Nobel Peace Prize. He was not a humane president. He was the deporter in chief, and he did too many drone strikes.
Yeah,
But-
I think she meant about deportation. I don't think she meant about the.
Yeah, I was just talking about deportation humanely. As an immigrant, I would rather be put on a plane than zip tied. You know, like I'm not talking. I wasn't talking about the drone strikes. I was talking about because I mean I have family in those countries that the current president called shitholes. So to pretend that I'm not. You know, I have, you know, I'm first generation Nigerian, and Trinidadian, you know, so like, I understand what it's like to be on the outside of American, you know, actions, military actions, or, you know, Western military actions. I don't think any of that shit is humane. What I'm saying is that they were not chaining people to chairs on planes and sending them to countries that they were not from, you know? So humanely deporting somebody is giving them the dignity of at least sending them to the airport and sending them back to the country that they came from. He's sending them to prisons in El Salvador. That's inhumane.
Got it. Okay, yeah. No, I got you, Renee, Carolina, and then we have more. So.
Yeah, so like I've mentioned that earlier. They like to bring up Obama because they got low-key their DL for the man. And I do think that like y'all are extremely disingenuous because those of us who are actually progressives have critiqued Obama as well. But there is a stark difference between what is happening now versus what happened under the Obama administration, including the fact that why are there not as many deportations? Because they are detaining people in concentration camps and disappearing them. But I digress. So to answer Hiba, so no, having the National Guard, there is absolutely no benefit to it, even if they were going to try to utilize them against ICE, so to speak, because that's also, again, creating a context by which he is going to invoke the Insurrection Act. So this is one, if y'all remember the meme where it's like all the Spider-Men pointing at each other, that's essentially what it would look like with the National Guard or any other type of troops going, allegedly against ICE. It's people, it's the colonizers fighting themselves. It's arms of the fascist dictatorship fighting themselves. But with that, like I stated, it's creating a context. They know what they're doing. So having these militarized forces, whether it be ICE, whether it be the National Guard, or as he suggested in other instances, other branches of the military, it is all intentional because they do not want to have the 2026 elections. They are waking up to the fact that many people are regretting not coming out to vote. They're regretting, some people are even regretting their vote for him in the first place, which whatever, I'm not giving those people grace, but I'll just be quiet about it. They are seeing that there is going to be a significant backlash to try to take back the legislative branch. And so because of that, they can create a context by declaring martial law, which would be able to have them effectively suspend the 2026 elections. So this is why we talk about, we're not even slipping further into fascism. We are in full on fascist mode at this point. So the idea that any type of military branch would be able to be beneficial in this instant would only exacerbate the chaos and give them that context that they are looking for. So there is no upside to this. The only thing we thought is that with them not being funded with the government shutdown, that there might be a slow in that. But we have to remember, what did I say earlier, you guys? What happened to the Proud Boys and what happened to the Minutemen and all of those militia on the border that were doing this as a hobby? They joined ICE. So they're doing this for the love of living out their wet dream of snatching up black and brown people. That's why they're comfortable, even though they're not getting paid right now, because the impetus for what they are doing is their racism. So they are getting what they want out of this.
Okay. All right, Catalina. Appreciate that. Go ahead, We Are More. And then We Are More will get the final comment. And then I'm going to, I'm thinking about a quick live for about an hour around the New York mayor's race. I want to know what y'all think about this. And having a live for folks that support Mamdani versus folks that support Cuomo. I'm thinking about doing a live on that. What do y'all think about that? Well, let me know while We Are More makes a final comment. Go ahead, We Are More.
Okay, it's kind of like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place right now because it's at the end, and I want to grace and follow the flow of your panel by speaking last. But it's like going after what. The crazy part about it is that I really know, and I think I'm choosing my words deliberately. I want to know y'all that don't know me and don't know Shaka and how I speak. I'm not speaking. Everything I say is deliberate and strategic. I sat here. I'm literally standing in my kitchen with my protein shake and all this stuff. I'm supposed to be going to the gym, but I think it's very, very, I know that it's very important that I point out what Renee and Carolina just did for y'all is literally that it's symbolic to your parent grabbing you by the shoulders and looking you dead in your eye and telling you to listen, because something is about to happen. They just gave you the blueprint as to what you need to be listening for and thinking about. It is numbers, and it kind of goes into your question that you asked, ma'am. But I'm not going to be as tactful and as blunt as them. I'm hoping that the ancestors give me the art of articulation right now, because it is not hard to see anymore. But I know it's still hard to see for so many that do not know history, like Renee so eloquently said. And you do not know history, and it's disallowing you to understand that the numbers are being reduced deliberately, like Carolina just said, because of history. So I'm going to try this one more time. If you start off with the 1638 Maryland Colony Edict, I'm talking to you directly, ma'am, if you care to do this. You start off with the 1638 Maryland Colony Edict. It started there. Doctrine of exclusion. They specifically said it in the words, they will not, talking about black folks, they will not be able to enjoy the fruits of white society. And then they put it out in the wording. We are going to codify these laws. Your kids and their kids, talking about black people, are going to be enslaved. And their kids and their kids. It's in the wording. That hasn't been redacted. It hasn't been apologized about. That hasn't been made. Like, when you're in a relationship and you want a person should use their words to ensure that their partner feels security, right? If a person says, "Do you love me?" "Yes, I love you." Or, "No, I don't love you," for the security. They did not go back and say, "You know what? We're going to make sure we delete this because we don't want the citizens of this country that we stole from the indigenous people." I'm going to keep on plugging that in because it don't belong to neither one of us. But this place that we stole and created these laws, they created the laws. And that's what a lot of black people forget too. They created the laws. We are going to ensure that we erase that sentiment, that thought, that document so that you know that you're going to be equal. No, they just doubled down on it by codifying laws called slave codes, creating convict leasing camps. And then later, when a lot of white folks stepped up and said, "You know what, that doesn't sound too good," not that they really cared about it being wrong, because if they say that's wrong, then it takes away from what they benefit from, the subjugation of two groups of people. Again, the reason why they're deploying the National Guard is to reduce the numbers. History is just repeating itself. The Southern strategy, they tried it then, but it didn't really go over too much. A lot of white folks didn't want to really agree with it. The Roosevelt era, they really got it cracking. That's the reason why we don't have homes today, with the Federal Housing Administration deliberately extracting wealth from black people who could afford homes during the WW1 era. They are sending in the National Guard, like Carolina said, to reduce numbers. The number of people who can come back and say, "Wait a minute, we made a mistake, bro." Yeah, I'm being funny for a reason. You know who I'm talking about, a group of people. We made a mistake. We voted for the wrong person, because in mass numbers I know everyone who was into politics was surprised the Latino community really voted for this man for whatever reason. But that's because they don't know history as well. Things like DNA, knowing and understanding they're indigenous, mainly indigenous. We got admixture because of colonization. I'm going to land in a minute, I promise. The point I'm making is they're reducing numbers, so they're reducing the people who actually own this place, who really belong to this place. And if they were to come together and learn history, they can probably make an impact and maybe get it back. But, that's a whole different story. Mm-hmm. So once we reduce those people who have the actual power to, if they come together and learn history and learn about the age of exploration, that word, just explorer alone, should be changed to, we all should come together and change that word explorer to smurderer. Take off the S. They're reducing numbers, ma'am. They're not protecting. What? ICE is on purpose. Those are criminals with masks on and badges. So I'll land with this. They're reducing numbers, and we are next, because we really are easy to them. We're an easy fix because we're so split. We calling ourselves every other name but black and African. They're coming after us next. And that's easy because they've had us subjugated through the systemic racism, these structures and policies since the Maryland Colony Edict. They've had us under their thumb for a long time. So, okay, I'll land with that. I just wanted to, Carolina, Renee, good job. Good job.
Thank you, bro.
Right. Thank you. Let me go up to Sash. I know Sash wants to come in. I was going to close, but Sash wants to say something, so I always want to get Sash in. And then I'm going to close. I might do a very quick Mamdani or Cuomo live. It sounds like a lot of folks are interested in doing that, so I might do that. Literally restart right now. So if you want to come back for that one, please feel free. But I want to let Sash get a final word in. Go ahead, Sash.
I'll be really, really quick, sweetie. I just wanted to piggyback and just answer Hiba's question too. So when the National Guard is being sent out, if you're listening to what they're saying, especially Caroline, KK Caroline, what she's saying when they're calling all the leftists, all the protesters, everybody that's going against the administration, when they're calling them all T's, They're using that word on purpose so that they can weaponize the National Guard against the people. But the National Guard, they already know that that goes against the Pasi Comitatus Act, right? So that's why you see them when they're out there, they're not really doing anything. Like you see them out there like picking up trash, doing all this stuff because they can't do anything. They can't go against the citizens. They're not being used for anything out there because they can't go against the citizens. They're not really there to do law enforcement, right? Because they can't. They're just there for show. They're just there to scare people. That's why they're there, right? And then another thing, when Andrew mentioned that he hopes the lower courts are going to do something, that case earlier in the year that was tried in SCOTUS, the Chevron case. That was the reason, so that the lower courts can't do anything about it. So like this is the long game that they're playing. This was the whole long game, that the reason that they put those judges in there so that they were going to fight these cases. Like this is a whole long game that they're playing. If you don't know the Chevron case, go look it up because I don't want to keep Smitty here longer than he needs to be.
All right. Thank you, Sash. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. Come back if you're interested. It'll be probably like an hour live, a quick live. We'll see, maybe a little bit longer. But come back if you
First,
like.
I just want to say thanks to everyone for answering my question. But second, I do want to ask you. I know that you're looking to cover New York right now. But have you looked into Saikat Chakrabarty, I believe is how his name is pronounced? He's going up against Pelosi in California.
No, I haven't. I'll take a look at it though.
Yeah, take a look if you
Okay.
could, please.
Okay.
He's been very intriguing. The manner in which he's been talking about a lot of the different policies and things. He's a lot younger, obviously. Well, just about anybody's younger than Pelosi, but yeah, I'd be interested to see what you think of him.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
All right.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks, everybody for coming. If you're interested in the New York City
I'm
Live,
a New Yorker,
come back.
so I'll be there.
All right. Sounds
Send
good.
me an invite because I'm from New York.
Okay. We'll do, fam. All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
So I don't necessarily know why she was dropped, right? Let's just be respectful of the fact that be a discussion that is going to go into that. If we can have that be responsible, that's fine, right? Y'all know I have many discussions on that topic, many discussions. Okay. But if we can keep it respectful, that's totally fine. But now we've got it unbalanced. So I do need two folks that support Cuomo. I'm not going to do it unbalanced, y'all. So this one I'm not doing unbalanced. So give me a second, burn it on. If there are two people in the request that want to that support Cuomo, Andrea, give me a second. I just got to understand why you were dropped, and then Tomas Horn-Hunter, Holistic, or Elkian. If you support Cuomo, let me know. I'll get you up. Okay, I missed that. Okay, yeah, if you said a mosque was disgusting, that's pretty heavy. I got it. Okay. I got it. Okay. All right. So, just like if somebody said a synagogue was disgusting, I would drop the bleep out of that person. Okay, I understand it. So again, for the other folks that are in the request, Tomas Horn-Hunter, Holistic, Elkian, do you support Cuomo? If not, we're going to keep it to, I'll get Bernard's opinion, and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Bernard. We'll try to work more people that support Cuomo into this.
I mean, one for starters, Cuomo's a rapist, like actually a convicted rapist. And second of all, on top of that, he clearly he doesn't care about the common New Yorker. He cares about his billionaires and his donors. That's what he cares about. He's never done it. He failed New York during the COVID era with all the people that were unalive during that point. And it's just he's just clearly failed. Like him and Adams. Like I don't know. Like honestly, I feel like Adams is categorically worse for a myriad of other reasons. But with Cuomo, yeah, there's like multiple. there's multiple issues in just the duo of Cuomo and Giuliani back in the day. We do not need that. We do not need a geriatric leader right now. We need someone who knows what they're doing, who can make conscientious decisions. And Mamdani has brought nothing but solutions and it's like if again, politicians, I don't trust politicians, but if he does what he says he's going to do, he could be very good. It would honestly bring forth a booming economy for city.
Okay. All right, thank you, Bernard. Let's do another poll. Put a 1 if you support Andrew Cuomo, 2 if you support Zoran Mamdani. Let's see where we are with the chat. And
I just want to clarify something, because like the two people that are up here were clearly coming through with hysterics. First and foremost, stop associating. First of all, stop associating Islam with T groups, because that's one, that's Islamophobic, and secondly, we all know we've seen the history. The documents have been declassified. We all know any of the threats to national security were have direct ties to Mossad, and most of them were Mossad agents. So I don't know why it's always coming back to Muslims when we know what actually happened. So,
all right.
I also want to point out, she said only some types of people. So the microaggressions that were being thrown around, and you don't understand how billionaires work. They don't really have a billion. Actually, quite a few of them do. Not every billionaire. Most billionaires you have never seen a picture of. You have never seen their face. You don't know them. But they do have billions in the bank. They have liquid assets, and then they have their other assets. So I do have a problem when someone comes up to talk to me, specifically someone who has claimed, one, who was a poor, and two, another one who doesn't understand how these things work either. Because again, you're sitting here propping up, as a poor person, propping up billionaires who wouldn't take a dump on you if you were on fire. Like, they don't even like you. And you're sitting here saying, we can't do that because then they won't give us jobs. If they want to continue to rake in money, they'll still have to employ people, because it's the people who they employ that make them all of their money. So what you can do is you can cap the amount that they can make. You can tax them for real. And within the city of New York specifically, they have a lot of control. Again, if you own 6 buildings and half of them are dilapidated, if I say, hey, get them up to code and you can't raise rent, guess what? If they don't do it, you seize those assets, you sell them, or the city just takes control. The city receives their own payments, and you're talking about that. There is plenty of money because they are so okay. They are so okay with people to get money.
Real quick.
That's always been the dumbest thing. Like we all have.
Hold on, y'all, real quick. Yeah, real quick. Let me just kind of see where we are with the live. I know this is an interesting discussion, but I just kind of want to see where we are with the live. Is there anybody that wants to come up that supports Cuomo? Because again, I just don't want it to be I do want it to be even. Do we have any? We had 2, and now we got 0. So, do we have anybody in the chat that wants to come up that does support Cuomo? Maybe you're not even voting. I might even, or not voting, but maybe you don't have a pick out of the 2, right? And you want to weigh in. All right. We still have. All right, so let me do this. So Bernard and KJ, I'm gonna let y'all down. Thank y'all for coming up. If we do get somebody that does support Cuomo, I'll let you guys back up, or let one of y'all back up to debate. Okay, but thank y'all both for coming up. Appreciate you. All right, so we're gonna let KJR go. We're gonna let Bernard go. Thank y'all both for coming up. Again, I am looking for one person that supports Andrew Cuomo, one person that supports Zoran Mamdani. That is the idea for this discussion, okay? This morning or afternoon, depending on where you may be. I will take a look at, let's see who we've got in. Okay, all right, let's see. Let's just address this with Andrea real quick, okay? So Andrea, oh, maybe not. I want to clarify this comment. All right, it's not working. Okay, so all right, let's do this. Yeah, so we're looking for one person for Cuomo, one person for Mamdani. I'm assuming the rest of the 6 folks, Renee, Tay, Horn Hunter, Tomas, Holistic, and Elkian, are all supporting Mamdani. Is that correct? All right. So let me know. I'm looking for one person for Cuomo, one person for Mamdani to debate as to why they think. Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you. All right. Let's try this one more time.
Listen, I tried to explain in the chat what I said about the mosque, and I got muted. I was talking about that specific mosque, not mosque in general, because I go to many mosques. My kids are Muslim. I have nothing against mosques and Muslims. That mosque in particular, I've been there. Go follow them on social media and go there and actually meet the imam and then criticize me about my opinions of it. By the way, I also think Mamdani is bad for Jewish people, but I think it's just because he's just not going to protect us here in New York. I don't think he's going to give us the same protection we have now under Adams. But I have no problem with the fact that he's Muslim. I just have a problem with the fact that he's bad for New York. He's bad for safety. He's bad for crime. He's bad for anti-Semitism. He's not good for not good for protecting against anti-Semitism. That's my problem with him. It's not. But again, I think that mosque thing was overblown because it's a very popular mosque. It's a very big mosque. The imam is very well known, and of course he would go there. But I personally don't like the place because I've been there and I've seen what goes on there. And I got muted in the comments and I got removed for actually telling the truth because I actually was Muslim and I've actually experienced both Islam and
So.
But I've got to go because I have an appointment. I just wanted to come up here and explain myself.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Andrea. All right. So looking for, let's bring up somebody. Let's see. All right. We try to bring up that person. Give me a second. Okay. Let's bring up Renee. All right. 1 second. All right. So Renee, I have a feeling I know who you're supporting. And tell me why you're supporting Mamdani. Maybe the 2 top reasons you support Mamdani.
Because he is the only reasonable candidate, and as a New Yorker, that he's the only reason. Like, there's really no. I know who Curtis Sliwa is. He is a well-known and prolific liar. He's been lying for the last 45 years about his record. And Andrew Cuomo is a sex pest. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he was sending people. My brother-in-law has been working very closely with a lot of. He's a mover and a shaker in New York politics. Mm-hmm. Okay, and like. I keep a close eye on New York politics. I am not a Democrat. I consider myself a way far leftist. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a New Yorker. I've lived in New York my entire life. And under Eric Adams, I haven't been able to go into the city because I'm scared. That lady before, Andrea, was dropping mad dog whistles because, he's keeping the streets safe. For whom? For whom? Eric Adams brought back stop and frisk. He is not keeping the street safe for black and brown New Yorkers. He is keeping the street safe for scaredy pants who like to pretend that black people are lawless and that New York is some crazy wasteland. As somebody said in the comments of your last post, as somebody who's lived in New York my whole life, I've ridden on the subway in the middle of the night and not been scared. I've gone to Harlem at 2:00 in the morning and walk the streets and it's fine. New York City is very much like a very small town, except it's got its own little pockets. I'm sorry, but a lot of these people are transplants who don't know what the city is, and they don't know how to live there, and they're scared of black people. They're the people who drive through black neighborhoods and lock their doors. They're the people who think that gentrification is going to improve when it actually is just pushing out poor people and making it so that things are inaccessible. Mamdani is actively working towards making sure that people in New York have the things that they need to survive. The city has become so expensive that people who have lived here for generations are being forced out. We need somebody who is committed to making sure that New York returns to its former majesty. And as people who are from outside New York and don't know what this city is like, New York, Mamdani absolutely brings me hope. Now, I do not feel like he's a perfect candidate. I do not feel like he's a perfect human being. I do not feel like he represents literally everything I want out of anything. But that's not realistic. No politician does that. And I'm tired of people acting like we need to wait for the perfect politician to come along. As somebody who is also an immigrant, as somebody who is also a working class person, this person is looking towards making sure that New York remains true to its identity, which is a city of immigrants, which is a city of people who take care of one another, and which is a city of people who just want the same things. We want to live in a wonderful world-class city and not have to, go into debt just to pay rent, like, I'm sorry, but like, I can't listen to people who don't live in New York talk about New York anymore. Like I've been blocking far leftist creators left and right because they're using far right talking points and trying to dissuade New Yorkers from voting, instead of understanding that the people that you want, the only other options are bad options. I'm sorry. Like, the only other options are backed by the current administration. And if Cuomo or Sliwa becomes the mayor, that will have far-reaching negative ramifications for the rest of the country and the rest of the world. And I'm going to land my plane here. The only reason that New York is a blue state is because of Manhattan. New York, as someone who has lived all over the state, is deeply purple, and especially the upstate corridor is extremely red. So if we lose Manhattan, America loses another blue state. We cannot allow America to lose another blue state. And that's where I land my plane.
All right. Thank you, Renee. And if we got somebody that supports Cuomo, please feel free to request. I would love to have a one-on-one. Big Al, I know you have some concerns over Mamdani. I saw your comment about taxing and the impacts of taxing, potentially. But again, if there are others who support Cuomo and would like to come up, let me know. Let me see if we've got some new people in the request. Okay, no, we got the same people in the request. So feel free. But what do you say, Renee, to folks that say, hey, you know what? Our taxes may potentially go up in New York City. This could be bad for economic growth and development under Mamdani. What do you think about that, Renee?
I would say that taxes always go up. It's not like we're not going to return to like 1972 levels of spending power. But if our taxes are being used to actually help people, because that's what taxes are supposed to be for, not, or not, lining the pockets of what most of our taxes are going to is to pay people who aren't doing anything for us. If our taxes go up for infrastructure, for making sure the roads aren't like cobblestone streets in one of the most wealthiest cities in the world, to make sure that our, subway systems are keeping current with climate change, because in a couple of years, if we don't take care of the subways, they will be unusable during storms. I don't think that people realize that we need to be able to, taxes need to be paid so that we can keep social programs happening. And I don't think that people understand that social programs are necessary to a thriving a population and economy. The social welfare system, people look down on social welfare because of propaganda that has been disseminated in our communities for generations. So as somebody who can see through the propaganda, we need to. Exactly. Taxes are the fee to society, and taxes are the fee that we need to collect to support a society. As a poor person, no, I don't want to pay $1 million, but I think the upper tax brackets should be taxed higher. They are not taxed very high. there are a lot of billionaires who live in New York City who do not pay a lot of taxes. They pay a lower tax rate than somebody in my tax bracket. So absolutely we should go back to the 1950s, model of taxes where it was like a 90%, tax rate. I really feel like these people are not taxed nearly enough. And if billionaires were paying their share of taxes, we would not even be having these conversations. We would be in we would be in Izzy right now if billionaires were paying their taxes, because our infrastructure would be amazing. People would be able to pay their health care. People would be getting subsidies for shit. But no, we're lining the pockets of billionaires and believing them when they try to tell us not that paying taxes is a bad thing. No, we pay more in taxes than most billionaires. They have all the loopholes. So if somebody like Mamdani can come through and we can make sure that the billionaires of New York City are paying their fair share, absolutely, I'm down for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Renee, for that response. Again, I am looking for people who support Cuomo. If you support Cuomo, please feel free to request. And if not, we're just going to keep the dialogue going with Renee, but I probably will drop Renee here in a second and have somebody else come up to get their opportunity to speak on why they support Mamdani. But again, I am looking for someone. There's got to be someone who supports Cuomo in here. And we had quite a few earlier. And now we have no one. So I'm going to take one more poll. We'll see how that goes. Again, put a 1 if you support Cuomo, 2 if you support Mamdani. And we'll see where we are. If not, I'm going to bring up somebody else that supports Mamdani just for a minute, and we will continue the discussion.
Which number was Mamdani and which number was
Cuomo was 1, and Mamdani is 2.
Oh, so 2. Sorry, I put 1 in the chat.
All right, and please feel free to request. I know you said you were at work, though. I think you said. Thomas, please feel free to request. We've got a couple of people that support Cuomo. Would love to have you come up. Thank you, Whisper. Appreciate you. Good to see you. Tomas, why do you support Mamdani?
I support Mamdani, honestly, because I think, well, actually, I wanted to actually stay on track because I have ADHD, so let me just look at my phone because I wrote it down in order, so not get like derailed. So number 1 for me is actually I like the way that he looks at crime. I think one of the biggest problem that people don't understand with crime is a double-edged sword, because the problem with the NYPD is I do think we need the NYPD, right, to take care of us, to provide public services. But the problem with the NYPD has a very, very long history of racism and of anti-blackness and of targeting Black and brown people in New York. It has a very long history of that. So when we look at policing, right, there needs to be a way in which we could properly police the city, but not throw its citizens specifically its citizens of colors, which make up, I think, New York City. I think it's gotten to the point where a majority of the residents of New York are people of color. Don't feel targeted by the NYPD, and specifically people of color who suffer from mental health issues, because oftentimes what we see is the police officers are being sent to mental health crisis when they're not trained to deal with mental health crisis. And even they say themselves, like I know some police officers in my personal life who say themselves that they hate when they get called to deal with these mental health crises because they don't know what to do with these people because they're not trained to deal with these type of situations. So I think Mamdani offering a plan in which social workers and mental health professionals are able to be called for those situations is such a good plan, because they're the people who are actually trained to deal with these situations, not cops, which is why you don't have situations. Like I remember, like I forgot the name of the specific person. I mean, at this point, so many people of color have already been targeted and taken out by the NYPD but there was this one case of this kid in Brooklyn that he was having a crisis. I think he was going into, he was having a psychosis, and he called himself trying to get some help. And they sent the cop, and the cop panicked, and he ended up, take him out. So, and this was a person who was requesting help. So I think that is somewhere where I personally loved his plan on that. Another thing is, I do like the cost of the cost of living. Now, I'm not 100% on board with him and his cost of living because I do think there are some sort of like things around the edges that he needs to fix. Because I do understand when people say that, like, freezing the rent for stabilized apartments might actually increase the rent of other people, because landowners might want to subsidize that. So I do think there's something to be a conversation to be had about that. Nonetheless, oh, he's gone. I wonder if you.
Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Here, he just.
Okay. But nonetheless, I do think, though, the fact that he's even willing to try to find and to explore other options that isn't just, working with the private sector. I'm tired of everybody trying to work with the private sector. The private sector cares about profit. They want profit and they want money. They're and so a lot of them are willing to put up the rent. And a lot of these expensive apartments in New York City are from private sectors. These are new buildings that are being put up no longer just in wealthy areas of the city, but now they're being put up, in the Bronx. They're being put up in, they completely took over West Harlem, and now they're trying to take over East Harlem, and it's going up into Washington Heights and Spanish Harlem and in Inwood. So it's sort of like, and in Brooklyn as well. If you look at Queens, I'm more from like the Bronx, Upper Manhattan part, so that's more where I'm familiarized with. But yeah,
Okay.
although I'm not 100% on board with him on his rent plan, I'm still feel comfortable enough with it to vote for him because I support that he's willing to try. And then, of course, like one big one for me as well is that the fact that he had all these billionaires panicking is actually such a plus for me. Like, I love it. I love that they're panicking. I love that they're running around like chickens without heads. I personally love that because that to me shows that he is running for the interest of the people, not for the interest of the profit. And one of the biggest problems that I have with the Democratic Party is that they are as corrupt as the Republicans are, so are the Democrats. The Democrats are embedded with these billionaires as well, which is why even like not like both on a city level with Adams and with Cuomo and with Hochul and on a national level. Like, look up uh actually, he applies to this because he's a representative. His constituents are New Yorkers. Jeffries, it was reported while simultaneously talking about, that we need to, take down the oligarchy and having all these oligarchs at the inaugurations. Less than like 6 months after, Jeffries is in Silicon Valley trying to beg these like tech bros, telling them that the Democratic Party will keep their interest in mind. I think this was reported, I believe, by Axios or Politico, one of those two. So like so to me, it's sort of like the fact that these billionaires are nervous and he's making them nervous is such a pro for me because it shows me that he is there for me. He is there for the average New Yorker. He is not there for people who have billions, whether those billions be in cash or in assets or whatever. He is not there for them. He is there for people like me who actually are
Okay.
people who actually.
Feel free, all are welcome. But again, it's kind of final call for Cuomo supporters. So if you're a Cuomo supporter, feel free to request. I think the Mamdani supporters. I'm cracking
Let me
up.
just say,
yeah.
there
Real
are
quick.
so many in the like DZ Hayes. There's just so many in the comments. They talking mad, whatever. Common known facts. Okay, if it's a common known facts, where's your source? Like, they keep talking in the comments, but when you invite them on the panel, they ain't got shit to say. It's the cowardly. It's you're being a coward. And like, honestly, if you can't stand and you don't have the courage of your convictions to even show your own face, I don't really care what you have to say.
Okay, let me do this, y'all. So I'll run another live tomorrow morning, and we'll have this be the discussion, and we'll see if we get some debates. We had some a little bit early on in the live, and hopefully we'll have some more tomorrow. But with that being said, I'm gonna run, y'all. Take care. Appreciate everybody for coming up.
Bye.